So once you master using quotation marks, which is a very helpful tool, the next step is to start adding in search terms. And our tendency is typically once we get to this level, the first few results I see look like they're applicable and are going to be good. Our tendency is to start clicking. And I want you to go back to thinking about this. We're assessing what kind of information we're looking for. We're not going to click. And when we click, we fall into the information sand trap, where we start reading articles, we start reading books, we start absorbing information. But the information isn't pertaining to a specific aspect of our research. And so we're repeatedly reading a lot of the same data, a lot of the same sentiment, and our minds get overwhelmed, it starts to all look the same, and we stop having any ability to see the information that we're reading as individual pieces with value to what we're going to use them for, and that's what we want to do. So my number of 128,000, I want to come down quite a bit less. And the next step is to use what we call boolean searching to narrow down our search. So one way to do that is to, let me get to the right page, start adding in terms. Now remember how we just added quotation marks around our search and it greatly limited our results, and that's because the search was looking for anything with the word freedom and anything with the word speech, and not necessarily those words together. So adding quotation marks says we want this phrase all in our search results, excuse me. When I add in terms, so say I'm interested in the issue of freedom of speech and colleges, if I just add in college or at college, it's going to look for either of those phrases. So between every term that you type, you're going to have to add what we call a boolean operator. And booleans are the words and, not, and or. And what these are, just like your quotation marks, are code programmed into every search engine to help narrow down your search. So the word and says I want both the word college and the phrase freedom of speech in the same article. Okay, so that really narrowed down my search, 37,000, and I just need to keep adding in terms. We don't always know what terms to type in, so use the database. It's there to help you. The first suggestion I have, and I'm going to go back to our larger results. If you get this article at the top of your results screen that says research starters, these are really great articles to read. They're very short encyclopedia articles that are going to tell you the basic overview of information on your topic, and that's going to give you some terms to think about and add in. Another way to do that is to scroll, not click, we're not ready to click yet, scroll through that first page of results and see what kinds of terms pop out at you. So here this one's talking about Israel, the Lincoln Douglas debate, that sounds interesting, different states. The first one was talking about diversity, so I'm going to come back up here, that might be interesting, so I'm going to type in and diversity. And one of the ways that using Boolean operators is going to do is it's going to make our search more specific, but it's going to force you to think about that question we started with, what are you using your information for, and how to narrow down your search to find that specific type of information. So now I have a few more results. The next Boolean you might use is the word not. So for example, if I see a lot of articles coming up that are talking about things I'm not interested in, I'm going to go back up here and type in the word not and a term that's going to take all those articles out of my search. And that's the basics of how to use a Boolean.